The next type of brushes are what I call Sable brushes, and these are these Langnickels. Now, I'd like to stay away from the red Sable type brushes that people normally think of as Sable, even though these are actually called Sable brushes, Royal Sable. They're made out of mongoose hairs, whereas a lot of times the red Sables are made out of some sort of squirrel hair. And I find those don't hold the paint the same way these do. And there's a couple models that I like in these Langnickel brushes. First is the 5590 series, which is a real long flat. And it's a long-haired flat, and the beauty of a Langnickel is it really holds the paint well. So when I dip in, it'll pick up a lot of paint, whereas a lot of times the old kind of the other type of Sable brushes will have a tendency to not pick up as much paint, whereas these will hold a lot of paint. And this is favored by a lot of artists today, these brushes. And this is small. This is, even though the brush is pretty small, it's a 12. So I use anywhere from, I pretty much use every size you can get in this. They go up to a 44, which is yay big. It looks like about a 1-inch wide brush, all the way down to just minuscule ones, tiny ones, 2s. And that's in the long-haired, mongoose-haired flats. And it's 5590 is the model number, Langnickel Royal Sable. This one's a 44. Okay? And those are great brushes. I love those. You can do so much with them. Now, any of these brushes that I'm showing you, you could do entire paintings with. You could do entire paintings with these brushes. It's just that, you know, I'm just trying to tell you what the different styles are good for. Okay? Now, the other one I like to use is the 5510 series, which is the bright. They call it a bright, and what it is, a little bit shorter than the other brush I showed you. Let's try to pull out one, and you'll see here it's shorter in ratio. This one's a 24. I don't have a 24, but here's a 44, and you'll see that the two brushes, this is shorter size-wise than the other one. Let's see if I have one. Here's a 16. It's not, and you'll see here the 16 is longer than the 24. So these are a little shorter, a little stiffer, a little thicker, and they just give you a real nice, look to them. And they hold the paint well, and they have a tendency to smooth the paint more than a bristle brush. One way to look at the difference between a Langnickel brush like these and the bristle brushes is the bristle brushes will leave more of a track mark, and these will leave less, but they still leave paint on the canvas and still leave track marks, just not as much. A way to think about it, if you were going to paint burlap, you'd want to use a bristle brush, right? And if you were going to paint silk or flowers, you would use a natural hair or a Sable brush or a mongoose hair brush. That's one way to look at it. Could you do both with both? Absolutely. It's just, that's kind of a way to think about it in terms of how the paint's going to be applied. The heavier stuff, or maybe the quieter areas like the shadows, maybe the softer brush. And the areas you want more paint to show, like on the lights, the bristle brush. Again, no magic. You can do both with both. It's just that they're both great tools. You should try them both. Okay? Then the other thing is, sometimes for detail work or for putting little lines in, or mostly softening edges, I got these little itty bitty brushes. This is a 5500 Royal Sable brush, and this is a round, but it's size 1. And here's another one, little short-handled guy, same kind of a brush. And this is a size 0, and what they're great for is softening edges between things. Okay?